In this case, the SCP assigned that serial number doesn't really exist, but it's an error in the Foundation's SCP database. If you go to SCP-00's page, you'll see that the serial number is broken, the class and special containment procedures are broken, and there are all sorts of system errors like undefined and undefined data. According to a footnote by technical researcher Dr. Rosen, the system keeps refusing to repair this part of the database, SCP-00. And after many attempts to fix it, it has given up altogether, eventually placing an inhibit on all commands related to the O Syndigit. But when I dragged the giant white space at the bottom, a hidden sentence appeared. It's like someone is having a monologue. The entity describes the place it is in as a cage, which is enormous, with no walls, a white plane, and no life. It's a prison where no matter where you go, you end up back in the same place. This being had spent countless years in the space, not knowing who he was or where he was. He described exploring purgatory, during which time he had seen horrific creatures appear and disappear in very brief flashes. The memory of these creatures triggered a specific memory for this being. A shapeless black entity appeared in front of this being and stared at him with crimson, dead eyes, and the protagonist felt an overwhelming sense of hatred, anger, and fear as he approached it. Shortly thereafter, the black entity disappeared, but he heard it mutter the word Foundation briefly before it disappeared. Immediately afterward, the protagonist tried to access the flashes of the other creatures in order to understand the meaning of the word Foundation, but he was still unable to comprehend their appearance. Meanwhile, the protagonist realizes that he can shout with his mouth and vocal cords. Soon after, the protagonist screams all sorts of words at the sky and feels it's his duty and right to do so in his empty life. Contrary to her expectations that this roar would change anything, it didn't, and she continued to scream until she couldn't anymore, at which point she began to cry, screaming that it wasn't fair. Not knowing if he was here, who he was, what the Foundation was, what they had done to him, or what this empty void was, the protagonist suffered in the void, and he would not stop screaming until he escaped from it.